Hey guys, Beast Force here and welcome back to my Phineas and Ferb breakdown. As in this breakdown we're going to be looking at Tales from the Resistance Back to the Second Dimension, which is a sequel after the movie which came out in 2011, while the next video will focus on saying goodbye to Phineas and Ferb as we prepare the specials, the final episode post-summer, Alka Files and At Your Age. Back in 2012 on November the 23rd, Kyle and Mike have a beautiful mind moment plotting the return of the second dimension, which came out 2 years later in 2014. The moment I heard about this, I was stoked because I love the second dimension and I'm a huge fan of the aesthetics of the outfits and the lore behind it. We've seen sequel takes place after movies like Ben 10 sequel of the Omnitrix with the self-destruct button, as we've seen that brought up again in the season finale of Alien Force, which actually does. Well, the second dimension came out in 2000 and after that focused on normal episodes of Phineas and Ferb until we got here at this moment in time. There are a lot of things that untie the story from the cut version, which actually goes from here from the main plot, which actually makes a lot of sense. I will do that once I get to the breakdowns, as I'm going to discuss it more about what my thoughts and what it is. But in the grand scheme of things, after 3 years, was it necessary to bring back the second dimension sequel after what happened with the movie? Before this episode came out, some people thought it would ruin the lore of the movie, even though the cut version actually makes sense for the plot which comes into fruition. And there are actually a lot of Phineas and Ferb fans that were hyped to see the second dimension again, including myself, because I always loved the aesthetics, the lore, a lot of stuff, the cool things, the gadgets and all of that. I didn't rewatch the episode back then when I first watched this. I only watched this 2 times or 3 or whatever, but 2018 onwards, I rewatched it a lot of times and I always pay attention to it. Let's see what is expanded on from the second dimension. If this is your first breakdown, you're curious to know how the rating system was, there's the detailed description down below, along with my other video that also had the link with the description down below in my playlist. Joshua Pruitt, Mike Bell, Kyle Mankey, and Michael Dietrich wrote an episode called Tales from the Resistance Back to the Second Dimension, premiered on November the 25th, 2014 on Disney XD. In the second dimension, while Doofenshmirtz is in prison, Isabella's pet goes missing, along with many agents of the old WCA. Phineas, Ferb, Candace and her resistant fighters must find and defeat a new foe to save the animal species and protect their world. And the whisper sounds in the beginning is actually a reference to Lord of the Rings. What was that? It's Elven. It's a made-up language. I love that it's building up to where it leads to now.
Feel it in the little pieces of apple in my Waldorf salad.
Charlene Duffer doing a voiceover, which is actually a reference to Lord of the Rings, a Fellowship of Ring. Another Lord of the Rings reference. And you could tell that Charlene Duffer doing the narration, Alison Jennings' voice.
Some now live who remember it happened.
When I first saw this, I was hyped straight away. Tales from the Resistance Back to the Second Dimension title, as it's different. And I love it gets a logo of a different title. This looks peak. It's also a reference to Tales of the Lodge Puddle.
All terrible thing-minded people who became great.
When I first saw this gives me great memories. I was like, holy shit, we are going back to this now?
All things can also be good. How a tiny cat hair can ruin an evil sandwich.
Those lines doesn't even make any sense. It's random, but it's funny.
Some more were melted away by the love of a choo-choo.
Friendly reminder, the reason why he invaded his tri-state area is because of the choo-choo train, which is messed up.
All discovered a life, then vigilance.
And look at this picture. This is the updated version after Doofenshmirtz had been in prison from the second dimension. And this was during the second dimension, as per the platypus from the second dimension isn't here because Doofenshmirtz.
Journal entry number, diary. It's been 2 months since the fall of Doofenshmirtz.
2 months? So that means, could second dimension movie take place at the beginning of the summer? Which some people speculate, but I don't know.
Feel restless. I need a challenge.
Candace doing pull-up bars is actually a reference to the second Terminator movie when Sarah Connor did it.
And everyone is trying to embrace their new freedom. Evil's still out there, while I sit in my room waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Candace is being very vigilant right now after the second dimension, working hard to protect the ones she loves. She is striving to get into her civilization, as it's mostly focused around this episode. Candace in the second dimension is a badass.
I stepped on a slug. Things that eat nuts.
A squirrel?
If only the second dimension knows about squirrels in my pants.
Where's your other shoe? I must have dropped it.
Just classic Buford.
Buford stepped on a slug.
Careful down there. Call me if there's any trouble.
If this was the main Candace, she would have busted them. But the second dimension Candace is being very vigilant.
How's the summer fun coming along, Dr. Baljeet?
Oh yes, Dr. Baljeet. You still calls him Dr. Baljeet from the second dimension. Good callback.
First dimension suggests our summer.
I wouldn't be surprised if it takes place in August because they're going to have a lot of time until it ends in September.
I'd rather be breaking rocks. Fortunately, we've had a little help to the coolest pet ever.
Perry the Goldobus from the second dimension, and he's still a cyborg as we've seen it in the first dimension, as the evil was fired by first dimension Perry the Platypus, but he looks so cool. Front face Phineas and his hairs look different like that. This is the first time we see the second dimension Perry's HUD. You get to see the arrows, the numbers and all of that, and the target. Looks solid.
Any pet can fetch a stick.
And this is the first time second dimension Ferb speaks, as he didn't speak at all in the second dimension. And look at the sky as it's blue, I do really miss the purple pink aesthetics of the sky. Maybe after Doofus was captured it's changed, maybe it's understandable, but I do really miss the movie's aesthetics with the shadow and that.
Boy, pull the chain. Whoa.
Second time we see a front face Phineas of the second dimension.
My secret stash, what's known as sporting goods.
You can see baseball bat, basketball, cricket and all of that sport. You get to see it's dusty, full of cobwebs in the side, but once we get to this frame it's not covered in webs and it's not dusty.
Or you know who, stuff to play sports.
We play sport?
Obviously Phineas, Doofusmas is gone.
Oh, yes, as they used to say.
Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today.
Even if it's the second dimension, he still says that catchphrase.
And play a game of sports.
Good, you're home.
In the main timeline, Major Monogram always contacts Agent P in every layer he enters. But now it's Candace in the second dimension.
Captured Doofenshmirtz. Left to resist.
Well, you've been underestimating Major Monogram.
Unless you're a mine.
Well, Major Monogram, we did have a mine in the first dimension.
Our agents were all captured and Auka fell.
I wish this was mentioned in the movie, but I'm glad they saved this plot for the sequel. This was a good idea to bring this up.
Of our old headquarters.
Yeah.
Build our spy network. She put the keys.
I thought he was going to say memory erase at first when I first watched it, but he's looking for the keys.
Under the ceramic frog.
3-monitor vanity.
Animal agent so that we can...
I'm my own monitor.
It didn't make it in the final version as it was cut. Carl from the second dimension is supposed to be paid.
Carl's no longer with us. Only I'm getting paid.
We get a chance, tell Agent P, return to work anytime.
I like how he doesn't threaten Candace. He's like, he can get Agent P to return anytime.
Small animals, you can tell them to check the ceramic frog.
You want me to come over there and help you guys?
Fritz is in jail, everything's fine.
As much as Alka agents from the main dimension go out in missions, but the resistance of Candace and her team actually do it better, so let her handle the situation.
Dress festive, be young.
Major, I'm trained.
Responsibility to us, young lady.
Candace all her life while Doofusmas invaded the Tri-State Era is to protect the ones she loved and other people. That's always been her life, as she is striving to get into her civilian life.
I gotta run. You go have fun.
Second Dimension Candace has an arc in this episode as she's trying to adjust the civilian life instead of being a resistant fighter.
It's time to dress festive.
And there are the Firestorm Girls, which is the second dimension version of the Fireside Girl, and Holly dressed up as a person from our league, from our own.
An old cricket bat.
The first song in this episode is called Playing with Games of Sport, sung by Danny Jacob and Aaron Jacob, father and son. That's the reference to A League of Our Own. They don't sing the song, but we see Phineas and Ferb and the gang playing sports in their perspective. He's playing cricket with a football.
The pom-pom and advances down the field and try to get into scoring position. If they manage to return the awarded a chance to chase the jumbo riding ball past the midfield scheme.
Second dimension Irving exists, so why didn't we see him in the movie?
Balls as they can using golf clubs. Guy has a canoe paddle.
And I really like the narrator roasting Irving. That's quite funny.
The summer sun.
I didn't recognize it at first, but this is reused from the same part that was used for Squirrels on My Pants in the main dimension. I can excuse this because they're saving animation budget for the action in this episode. Look at Candace standing menacingly. She looks like she's gonna have PTSD flashbacks by now.
Isabella? Are you standing sentry? About to frolic down the hillside.
Isabella is right. Candace is being so vigilant that she knows that something bad is going to happen. And it does once we get to that.
Well, you're not fooling anybody, Staff. Right.
A bow star. That's what she used to fight against the gnome bots in the train in the movie.
You were going to take it easy. Johnson thing. Supposed to go out, but I didn't have any time.
Well, near the end of the movie, the first dimension Candace said take that into consideration. 2 months later, nothing happened. I'm glad they brought back that. Great stuff.
Pull-ups in your room and watching your brothers. Johnson? Something like that.
Well, for you, Isabella, Phineas in the second dimension has a crush on you, but we don't see it. But we do see it in the cut version of the second dimension of the animatic.
Where Isabella?
Sadly, we don't have a hint or a scene of Phineas having a crush on Isabella, which is such a shame. But it's not a stretch or something. It's just like, I wish we had that. But I'm still going to headcanon it is.
Ice cream. What a weird yelling game?
Oh, Candace, you've been away from civilian life for too long.
Nice.
I love how they're using creative way to play sports. It's better than pyramid sports. Whilst Perry's going to get the ball, you can see gusts of smoke there and the front face. And there's Cyborg Pinky. He was supposed to be mentioned in the movie, but it was cut. I'll show it.
Beloved pet dog Pinky, really a secret agent that had been right here under the house the whole time.
His robots came close to destroying Pinky's entire agency.
He himself was captured. Agents were forced to go underground. Brave citizens became the resistance.
He was supposed to be mentioned in the movie, but it was cut. But he is here. Pinky the cyborg can fire missiles. And Perry's doing a karate martial arts moves. Good shit.
You have to eat the ice cream slowly.
And Isabella is right, because you will have brain freeze. Same with slushies.
Giant mechanical ants. My brothers are in trouble.
Like the design of the giant ant, as you can see while they're trying to step on Phineas and Ferb. I like how the camera shakes like that.
Hit, it's go time.
Looks like Charlene created backup plans after Gnome Boss was destroyed. Peter the Panda took him out just like that, and he looks cool as a cyborg too.
They got Perry!
Just like Candace, Isabella in the second dimension kicks ass. I remember this frame where Just Swampy Marshall Dan posted on Twitter about this frame before this episode came out. At first instinct, I thought second dimension Candace was saving them, but they run out of the way and they're fine. I love the rushing background of the animation at the back.
Are you guys alright? Robot ants must have been a diversion.
Second dimension Candace is very smart. She knows it's a diversion when it is.
He's right here in our detention. Made checkers with him. He cheats, by the way.
Well, he does have the choo-choo train, so he's not evil anymore unless he loses it. Another front-faced Phineas.
Cyborg animal agent.
I'm a panda and the other one of those shaky rat dogs.
No shit, Major Monogram, no shit.
Kind of lost track of some of the agents.
How many did you lose?
Agent P.
26, sir.
26, really? In the main dimension, they have more than 26. We've seen the Rhino, agents from Africa and all of that. There's more than 26. But come on, really?
Perry's location chip, cyborgs, and rescue Perry.
They're staying here where it's safe.
I thought we'd gone past that from the movie, Candace, as she's overprotected them again.
We're not gonna help.
No. We're gonna get you two home where it isn't our fight, it's their fight, and you two shouldn't have gotten involved.
We can handle this. Got past the security grid to free you from Doof's tower.
And he has a point, and we do see it as Jeremy was there to also rescue her too.
But take the Firestorm girls. We'll find out who's behind all this.
As the door opens, you get to see the shadow of Candace appear as it goes wide. That is some good shit right there. Love the lighting too. I like how the shadow extends to the wall as she walks closer to it, to the prison, and that is great. And there's second dimension Doofus, the first time we see them since he'd been arrested at the end. And this is actually a reference to Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal Lecter visit by Clarence in the prison cell.
What do you know about robotic picnic ants full of cyborgs?
It's a rhetorical question.
Play smart with me, villain.
Even though he's been in prison, we all know that he's not pulling the strings, as it is someone else.
Blaming me? I've been locked up in here. Provide an alibi.
There's doof tech scattered all over that park.
Second dimension Candace looks badass with a close shot of her face.
There is, however, another Doofenshmirtz.
That's a Star Wars reference, and funny enough, we got a Star Wars breakdown to do soon.
Vanessa, I knew.
Vanessa only appears in the cut version of the movie, as it wasn't there, so there was no coincidence here. I wish they interrogate Vanessa too. It would have been so much engaging, but I don't mind it either.
She's just in high school for evil. Really disappointed.
I never thought Doofus acknowledged about Vanessa being a disappointment, not being evil.
Charlene. Bum, bum, bum.
Another bum in this movie.
My ex-wife. You guys have never met drama of the reveal.
Just like the second dimension, Charlie divorced Doofus was. Also, we thought. I like how Peter the Panda scouting for an in case of reinforcements to check. There is Doofus's statue with Balloony you can see. Looks like the second dimension needs to come up with a plan. The dog fell for the oldest trick of the book. Good thinking, Ferb. And the animals fall for the bait way too easy with their own food. It's like the cat doing the same thing, except the fact that he fell for the bait too. I'm gutted they didn't bring that up in the movie, but I'm glad they brought this plotline into this sequel. I love how Second Dimension Isabella dodged Peter the Panda's attacks. That is very cool. Isabella's a badass too.
We got Perry.
I like how Perry's flying with Phineas despite him being much more taller than Perry. Front face Phineas again.
Busting rocks for the state.
And we all thought Peter the Panda captures Ferb off screen, but it turned out to be the other way around.
This interrogation room's...
Can't see you.
Even Second Dimension Major Monogram is as goofy as the First Dimension.
Hear us.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Now I'm embarrassed.
He can still see you, but it is soundproof now.
Alright, knock it off, glamour boy.
Mirror for 2 months.
So he has been in prison for 2 months, which is not that long when you put it that way.
Park your caboose in that chair. Damn it, wise guy. You know why I'm here and you better cooperate.
Even though Second Dimension Candace is 15, she is very intimidating.
Cold dang prison cell, sitting in a cold dang prison cell without your little choo-choo train.
You do not want to do that because he will revert back to evil, as usual.
Try me.
I attack.
Your ex-wife Charlene. Where's her hideout?
Second Dimension Candace is so intimidating. Can you imagine First Dimension Candace do this? Never.
Penthouse uptown has Charlene written in bright lights.
Just like Doofus even incorporated the First Dimension as we see it.
Vacation scrutinizer. Benchmarks can get
For us, we got one of those.
That would be risky because he could escape. You could just use Vanessa instead to get in. And we're back at Pinky's lair under Isabella's house. I do really miss the shadow extents of the movie, but this looks good.
Can we have Perry?
And going again.
Hey, kids.
Front face Phineas as they're not happy to see Doofenshmirtz.
Overwear.
He's still a prisoner. I'm just using him to get into Charlene's penthouse.
At least he's handcuffed and he can't get out, but there could be other ways he can.
The mask makes me sound all creepy.
Which is actually a reference to Hannibal Lecter, how he wears the mask.
Hey, where's Ferb? Just, we don't have time to wait for...
And we all thought he got captured, but wait until we see.
Phineas, Perry.
That's a nice penthouse, and it says Charlene's name with Doofenshmirtz.
Any scrutinizer is really thorough.
For real, I wish I had that in my house when I opened the door.
Idea.
Tony Marzullo asked me out to the movie.
Did your father banish him?
Yeah. I banished every boy that asked me to the movie.
Oh yeah, Tony Marzullo was mentioned, but it was actually cut.
Dad, did you outlaw Tony Marzu? Banishing every boy who shows an interest in me to mom's, and I'm taking the blimp.
Never yet, dear. Think.
Charlene is evil in this dimension, unlike her first dimension, but the only problem is she does have the same design as the first dimension. She does have the original concept design as we've seen in the Robert F. Hughes in the side of it, but it's such a shame because that design would have suited better in the second dimension in this sequel.
Okay, fella, better attention.
I didn't expect her to do that, but okay. And look at the cat getting kidnapped too.
Got you now, Charlene.
Do come in, and thank you for returning my husband.
In this dimension, they are not divorced, unlike the first dimension.
I thought you two were divorced.
Who's?
Wait, you two are pretending to be divorced?
Doing that is so scammy. It's like marrying someone else and you just like, wow.
Let me explain. Gets deposed and then he's thrown into the dock.
The song is called All the Confident Reasons Why We Tend to Be Divorced, which is one of the longest title songs we've seen in Phineas and Ferb. I remember this song was rumored came out in 2012 in December by Dan Poverman on Twitter, and we used to think, what does that mean? It has to be around Charlene and Doofus, and I got it right. And that song is actually a reference to Take Me Along, which actually came from the band, which is also the same member of the name. So that's why they divorced, because Doofus was in power, which could have endangered her.
Off they wouldn't get her too.
And that is pretty smart too, because he's the leader of the Tri-State area. And they reused this background thing from the movie. I wish they did that more often.
Coupons in the mail.
I wish I have a lot of coupons because I would have spent less. Even though they pretended to be divorced, they still contact each other before Doofus went to prison. I really love Alison Jennings and Dan Poverman doing the singing duo together. This is cool. I really love they put the choreography to animate the song. It looks so good of the design.
We pretend to be divorced.
The sports song was good, but this song was better.
Ants the picnic.
Would use Hines to get in the building. Husband back to me and getting you here so I could get the drop on.
Oh, Candace, you fell for the oldest trick of the book. You could have got Vanessa instead to do it, but no.
Your song.
No, we're good.
They know that time is running in this episode, so they have to get on with it.
Nice cozy prison cell for you. One.
You villain my brother into a cyborg!
Ferb.
When I first saw this, I was in shock, but it's actually Ferb pretending to be a cyborg, which is great.
We'll wait cyborg reprogramming.
So she is also the reason why Perry the Platypus went as a cyborg, not just Doofenshmirtz, the second dimension, her too. This is just wow. She is very evil.
Well, I usually only say one line per day.
True, but in many episodes you said more than 2 or 3.
Why?
Well, first dimension Charlotte actually met Ferb in the Finding Mary MacGuffin doll episode, but well, in the first dimension he could be your future son-in-law if he marries Vanessa. Not in this dimension.
Ah, weird kid.
Shall we retake over the tri-state area?
I don't really want to be an evil dictator anymore. This lovely fantastic Georgia.
And now he's going back to evil because Charlene threw the choo-choo train out the penthouse. This is the only thing I did not like about this, is Doofenshmirtz turning back into evil. I wish he kept the choo-choo train, but it is what it is.
I am back, baby.
As Doofenshmirtz return to evil, you get to see the shadow overlapping, reveals are dramatic, which is great.
Oh, that's okay, Candace.
But jail is a mental game. Try to break us, you'll see.
And that's what they're gonna do for interrogations and stuff.
Hours become years. Your thought of freedom flutters out of our consciousness like a dying butterfly.
I know second dimension Candace is speaking to herself like that, but I agree, because once you stay in prison for too long, it has a mere thought of freedom taken away.
It's the Furborg.
Please, Candace, you're being dramatic.
And I really love that Ferb pretended so that he can trick the Doofenshmirtz so that he can bypass the security grid to get Candace, Phineas and Perry out of there.
Ferb?
Too many front faces.
To fool you like that, Candace, all we need you to be convincing.
Not just one front face, Phineas, 2.
But if Doof and Charlene thought they had a leader of the resistance, would devote all their attention to the frontal attack.
What frontal attack?
That's how to make it climb, Buford!
And I really love that Phineas and Ferb, Perry and Candace went there first so that the resistance from the back can come there to stop Charlene.
Climb the building.
late to the party.
That's what all villains say when the hero comes here to spoil everything.
Present for our unwelcome guest.
Really on top of things here.
And she has that hand cannon gun which can fire lasers or missiles, but I don't think it will do a thing. One missile and it destroys the giant ant thing. What?
And to our guest.
Man, Terry as a cyborg runs slow.
These magnetic deprogramming chips frontal lobes, and it will no longer be evil.
So they have a hat with a chip inside of it so that they could put in the agent's hat who's been in cyborg to make sure they're unevil. That's nice thinking.
We sewed them into these little hats.
So cute. It works to reprogram.
You just can't keep Candace down. You lost your choo-choo train and you're doing this? Okay. And that's a very creative way to get Pinky back into normal. As it becomes static as Pinky is about to get out of the cyborg form, as his goggles actually removes first, as well as his body apart from his hand. Very cool.
Have you back.
Oh, it's so cute. Nice for Isabella the Second Dimension to have Pinky again.
Second thing you mentioned.
First dodging Peter the Panda like a badass. Lucky Peter the Panda survived, and you could have put a hat on him, he would have been deprogrammed, but he didn't.
If you right now, or you could join me.
Tempted offer, Charlene, but Candace will say no.
A cyborg army.
Like your cyborg army may have changed their minds.
Candace could have defeated Charlene in another way, but I really like the Resistance helping her too.
Now surrender.
This makes no sense. Pinky had these small parts removed, but he still has it back on in this part.
Doofenshmirtz never surrendered. Fight until the last man.
I have a feeling Alison Jennings has really enjoyed voicing this version of Doofenshmirtz. She's having a blast.
Man, don't I get a say?
Hold it. Everybody just stop.
Looks like Vanessa's trying to stop it, but she will help them escape.
Excuse me. To my parents.
Are you gonna let that happen? Block the entrance before they escape.
Guys, I'm only gonna say this once.
Why is everyone just standing there? Do something. Stop them.
Run!
Motherfucker. And you letting Peter the Panda escape too?
This is Tony Marzullo.
Hey, Mr. and Mrs. D.
He was banished, but he did come back to save them. And Tony Marzullo is voiced by the same voice actor who voiced Carl.
I banish you.
You did, but nobody saw it.
And they go away just like that, which is the most unsatisfying thing in this episode. But hopefully in the revival, if they do another Second Dimension episode, they better hope they bring that back. And that would be very good if they do that.
Schmertz is still out there. He's planning a comeback. Now have you, without a doubt, prevail.
A flamingo agent who is a cyborg, which is actually a reference to the West Wing, which Alison Jennings, the voice of Charlene, was in.
Step down from my position as head of the Resistance with you all and wish you luck.
That is very surprising. Candace is stepping down from the Resistance because she wants to focus on her civilian life. Nice for a change of her life.
You're stepping down?
You've got your animal agents back. I think you can handle it. If you ever get in a pinch, you know where to find me.
Even though he got his animal agents back, I really like Major Monogram doesn't try to erase them, which is a nice touch. And it's nice to see Candace embracing the civilian life, which she struggled from the beginning.
Putting off that I need to take care of.
Unless I miss my guess, I'd say she's making room in her life for other things.
And you damn right, Isabella. Looks like Candace is embracing her life for Jeremy and other things in her life other than the Resistance.
15, 17.
And she's doing pull-up bars like Candace earlier, which is a good parallel.
18. Hey.
Hey yourself.
And it's nice to see Jeremy blushing at Candace. Looks like the Second Dimension Candace did take into consideration from the First Dimension Candace. Great way to end the sequel. Very interesting. Now, time to start off with a plot. The plot will start off with a 4. I really like how it started 2 months after the movie timeline actually takes place. And also it continues off where it leads off from the movie, which is great. I really like how Candace is trying to adapt to civilian life, even though she's still part of the leader of the Resistance. As the kids playing sports in the picnic, as it turned out Charlene's ants and a lot of things attacked, including cyborg animals as well, which is also the reason why they've been missing from the movie. And also the fact is, Charlene has a penthouse and pretended to be divorced with her husband Heinz Doofenshmirtz, even though Doofenshmirtz has been in prison for 2 months, which isn't that long, as he lost the choo-choo train as he returned to evil. As Candace, Phineas and Ferb and Perry actually go in there first to make sure to stop Charlene and her army, and even though the resistance actually helped as well to reprogram the animals back into normal, which works too. And also the fact is the Doofenshmirtz escape along with Tony Mazzula. I really hope we do get a sequel of their whereabouts, because the story is not finished, and I really like how Candace adapted to the civilian life in the end by hanging around with Jeremy. There's still questions that needs to be answered in this episode, which I won't give it higher than that. And it's weird that Doofer D2 still affects Candace D2, as she keeps worrying about fighting evil. She apparently never knows who Charlene is, which is strange. There are some plots that could have handled better, but I'm not really bothered about it, and it's not really a stretch, and it turned out to be very good. Characterization will get a 5. I really like the characterization of all of them. Phineas and Ferb and the gang with the resistance hanging around to do a picnic. And I really like Isabella being a badass along with the Firestorm girls to go to Charlene's penthouse to make sure that the animal agents had been reprogrammed. And I really like Perry the Platypus as a cyborg took along. I really like Ferb being disguised to make sure that they help Candace, Phineas and Ferb get out of the prison, which is great. And Doofenshmirtz used to be a peaceful guy who doesn't want to take over the tri-state area because he lost the choo-choo train, until Charlene throws it out of the window, which actually turns him back to evil. And Charlene Doofenshmirtz is evil in this dimension, unlike her first dimension counterpart. And Alison Jennings does a great job with the singing voice and her delivery lines, which makes it great. We do see Vanessa as she helps her family escape, and I really love it's mostly focused around Candace, as she is struggling to adapt to her civilian life, as she's standing watching the kids in the picnic with Isabella seeing her. She always there for the mission to help protect the ones she loves, until towards the end where she's hanging around with Jeremy as she stepped down from the leader of the resistance. She will still be part of there, but it's nice to see a change of her arc right there, and that's why Candace's second dimension is a badass. Visuals is a 5. I do really miss the second dimension with the shadows, the lightning and all that, which is better, but it's just an episode and they had to cut down the budget of some. We did have some good action scene with the giant ant attacking the kids, while Isabella and Candace being as a badass. Also the design of the cyborg animals, the song of pretending to be divorced, the designs, Candace fighting Charlene, even though it wasn't as much as it is. Many of the scenes were placed very well. The penthouse, the designs of everything else was done very well. I can give it that. Importance, it's a 5. It's a sequel from the movie which came out in 2011, and you have to watch it for the animal agents becoming cyborgs, Candace from the resistance, a lot of stuff that continue on from where it lasts from 2 months in universe. Overall, you have to watch it because it's very important. Entertainment is a 5. 24 out of 25. This is a very good sequel to follow up through, and I recommend you go back and rewatch it. Animals going back to their normal selves, Doofenshmirtz are still on the loose, Candace resigns as the leader of the resistance. There are still, I wish they can uncover if they do the next episode of Tales of the Resistance. If they do, I would love it. Even though I wanted more, it's what you can ask for. It has nothing to do with the movie, but the season 5 poster has been added in the upcoming The Walt Disney Studio, The Magic of Disney Animation, that's currently in construction at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Even though it's not a stretch, I wish we get to know what happened to Love Muffin in the second dimension. And if Milo, Zach, and Melissa appeared, what would their roles be in the second dimension? Let me know in the comments down below to see what possibilities would you want in the second dimension. And I did a poll on which is your favorite family in the Don Swampyverse, as 8% vote for the Grant Gomez, the 80% vote for the Murphys, and 74% overwhelmingly vote for the Flynn Fletchers. And it makes sense because Phineas has the ideas, Candace is the crazy one, Ferb doesn't talk this much as he's a man of action, Lawrence is a good husband towards Linda, even though she is oblivious, which can summarize the criticism of her. I'm surprised with the overwhelming votes of the Flynn Fletchers got 74%, as Murphy for me should have been ranked higher because I really love their dynamic, the chaos of Murphy's Law, and the shenanigans going on, which makes it the family great. But overall, the winners will go to the Flynn Fletchers. And after this, we're going to be the next breakdown will focus on saying goodbye to Phineas and Ferb, as it's the last 4 11-minute episode of the production order, while we still need to finish off the post-summer episodes, which also had 11 minutes. And also after that, this is where we're going to get a lot of the specials. And first, we're going to start off with Save Summer, one of the most underrated specials of Phineas and Ferb. And after that, there will be plenty more review after I do the next breakdown. I will be uploading new polls that is coming soon, but make sure you check on the community tab when it goes live. And until then, hope you have a fantastic day. As always, see ya.